All right, so we're going to talk about phenylephrine versus vasopressin. All right, so first off, which receptor do they work on? Remember, this is going to work on your alpha receptors. Alpha receptor, predominantly alpha 1, and causes vasoconstriction, right? And then vasopressin works on your V1 and your V2 receptor, causing vasoconstriction, and then water reabsorption. So it increases H2O. V1 is what causes the vasoconstriction. What do we need to know about volume of fluid per medication? This is a lot of fluid. So fluid, can't spell anything. F-L-U-I-D, fluid. So lots of fluid. Meaning that it is not a very concentrated medication, and also meaning that when you're giving it near maximum doses, per whatever your hospital protocol is, it's going to be a large volume of fluid, so they're going to get volume up. So volume up, expect them to get volume up. This is not so much fluid, so low fluid. And that means it's concentrated, and it doesn't cause as much volume overload, so you get less of this. At least you get less of this from strictly a medication standpoint, right? So it is acting on the V2 receptor, which will cause some free water reabsorption, but that doesn't seem to be reabsorbed at the same pace that this leads to fluid overload. So generally speaking, phenylephrine, you get fluid overload if you're on it for several days. Not so much with vasopressin. Remember, your doses here are like 0 to 180 micrograms, and this is in units, 0.03 to 0.04 units. We look at like mLs infused. This can be greater than 100 mLs infused as you get kind of bigger into doses. Even at your highest dose, like this, it's like 15, sub 20, generally mLs infused. So that's another thing. The other thing is this receptor is what we would say pH dependent. So pH dependent. And this receptor is pH independent. And that means as the pH drops, so as pH decreases, this becomes less effective. So loss of effect with acidosis. While this one stays the same, so no change with acidosis. So again, vasopressin, pH independent. The vasopressor, i.e. vasopressin, will still work as the pH drops. Phenylephrine, as the pH drops, it's going to become less effective. Still going to do something, but just less effective. And then the last thing, this one is, so the alpha receptor is located within all your vasculature, so it's basically systemic. And this includes the pulmonary arteries. While this is systemic, but no pulmonary arteries. So, meaning that when you give more of this medicine, you cause no increase in your pulmonary artery pressure. While you give phenylephrine, you increase the pulmonary artery pressure. So phenylephrine increases your pulmonary artery pressure. Vasopressin does not. So how does that matter? Well, if you have right heart failure or pulmonary hypertension, phenylephrine is a no-go. So not for pulmonary hypertension. Why? Because it increases your pulmonary artery pressures, and in increasing your pulmonary artery pressures will decrease your right ventricular cardiac output. And vasopressin will not do that. So this one is safe in pulmonary hypertension. And that's the big takeaways. So again, big takeaways, just to review. Phenylephrine, alpha receptor, causes vasoconstriction. You can get volume up. It's pH independent, meaning that as the pH gets lower, the medicine becomes less effective. And it's located in your pulmonary vasculature, so giving the medicine will increase your pulmonary artery pressures and can worsen right heart failure, pulmonary hypertension, those type of things. Vasopressin, V1 and V2 receptors, V1 vasoconstriction, V2 water reabsorption, less fluid overall because it's a more concentrated medication. It is pH independent, meaning as the pH gets worse, the medicine still works. It is only located systemically, not in your pulmonary circuit. So giving this medication will not worsen your pulmonary artery pressures, so it is safe in pulmonary hypertension and in right heart failure. All right, that's it.